Alright guys, how's it going? It's Mr. Extra from Team Extra. And as you know, the new Battle of the Legend, Terminal Revenge just came out, so I already have an ice barrier list for you guys today. I've been working on this list for a hot minute now, right? Hot minute, perfecting it and everything. And let's just say, ice barriers is the new sword soul now, guys. So, bear with me here. So, I'm going to explain some basics, what you need, how to combo with it, and we'll do a couple test hands on Omega here just to see what kind of hands we get, right? So you're going to start off by playing 3 Ice Shade Rand. Ice Shade Rand's really good if you have this card in your hand, and Mirror Mage, full combo, because Ice Shade Rand, pitch Mirror Mage. Then you get a 7 and a 3, which you can immediately make your Lancia, and that's a very good start, and the Mirror Mage searches for whatever else you need, right? And then your 3-ups are pretty simple. You're going to play 3 Ice Shade Rand, 3 Swordsmen. Swordsman's really important, especially after you put Lancia on board. Swordsman is super important against those graveyard decks that have a lot of effects in the grave, or monster effects in the grave. So during their turn, the first thing you want to Lancia out, depending on what you have, is either going to be Swordsman or Ryo. Now Ryo here has a passive effect of any monsters that use their effect on the field, well, for your opponent, right? You have to discard, they have to discard a card, or the monster negates itself. It does not target. It is not an activated effect, so it's really, really cheesy. But your 3-ups are Rain, Swordsman, Swordsman's super important, Revealer, Speaker, Hexa's full combo, and Mirror Mage of the Ice Bearer. Alright, I'll explain what everything else does and how it goes in sequence. So, Ice Bearers, when they first came out, right, they were originally a deck that would put a bunch of soft floodgates on people, and based off in the lore itself for the game, from what I was told, Ice Bearers were the counteractive to the Dragnuity, and in the lore, they showed up to stop them and to slow them down and lock them out, right? Anyways, so 1 Ryo for shenanigans. 3 Swordsmen. Swordsman's super important. Swordsman's basically long gun. That's why I said this is like a better version of Sword Soul. I do play the General. Everyone thinks that's weird, but General, you don't want General on field unless you're going against like Runic or something that cares about their spells and traps. And if I'm not mistaken, this is pretty good against, this is good against Runic and Labyrinth, right? So, pretty good. General Wayne also lets you search for whatever you need. 3 Revealer, because Revealer is one of your starter pieces, right? I play 1 Spellbreaker. Now you have two choices. Spellbreaker, if you use its effect before you pass turn, you make it to where you and your opponent cannot use spell cards, right? That's one choice you can do, right? And plus, it says discard a card, but if you have a Revealer in graveyard, you can just banish Revealer, and that will meet the cost as well because of Revealer's effect. The second thing about it is if you don't feel like playing Spellbreaker, you can play Warlock. Warlock is basically anti-spell, right? Where you could like leave Warlock on the field and get it out during your turn, or you can throw it out Lancia at the start of their turn, but chances are they might super poly you. I like to go with the sure thing. That's why I usually go Spellbreaker, because then they can't even try to super poly you. Alright? And then 3 Speaker to extend. Special summon, you got an Ice Bearer on field. If you got 1 engraved, banish main Ice Bearer token, that does come up. Defender, one of your little soft floodgates where you get it out pretty early. You don't, now, this is something like if you have an extra extender piece or an extra piece that you just want to get out, this is cool. It'll work. Or if you want to use Lancia and get it out because you already got out like Ryo and Spellbreaker, then you can too. And then Hand Trap Line is pretty standard here. 3 Ash, 3 Ghoster, because Ghoster is good right now. 3 Imperm, pretty typical. I tried to cross out in this deck and I didn't like it. It's too bricky. Now, let's go for the Mirror Mage. So Mirror Mage is really good. When it gets sent to graveyard, it will search for any Ice Bearer card in your deck. Now, when it is on field, you can send another card, another monster, from your field to the graveyard, and then you can create up to 3 Ice Bearer tokens. And then, if you create 3, this thing will turn to level 5. If you create 2, it'll be level 4. Create 1, level 3. You get the point. One of your main strategies you can do to really get everything you need is you get out Mirror Mage, and then you make 3 tokens, and then you hit it with ones of the Ice Barrier, which will give you 3 more level 4 lower Ice Bearer monsters from your deck to the field. So it won't get you General, it won't get you Swordsman, but it will, like, it'll definitely help push your board state. Now, You're going to play 3 Hexa or Little Whale. I call him the Little Whale Boy because Hexa is really nice. Hexa does a reduction on your opponent's field based on attack defense, right? That's irrelevant. But Hexa is one of the 1-card combos for this deck because you can normal summon Hexa, go Hexa effect, dump Mirror Mage, and then start there. And then you could search for like Speaker or Winds of the Ice Barrier or Freezing Chains, anything. I usually search for Swordsman, and then we go from there and we just start comboing. So you play 3 Medallion because, I mean, not once per turn, amazing. Winds of the Ice Barrier I played as a 2-up because you can brick on this if you play a 3-up, but it's kind of hard to not see any names with this deck. You play enough names. I play the trap card, Ice Barrier, mostly because you can search it. Because it says Ice Barrier, you can use its effect and drop something to 0, and as soon as it gives a graveyard, you can banish it, and then drop like your Rain or your Swordsman graveyard, and then pull it back. And then 3 Imperm, and then 1 Gozen. Gozen's flexible, good flex spot. We play 1 each Trishula, right? We play 2 Lancia because it's so good. You do want to have a second one. Your opponent's probably going to think you're going to be on 1. Ice Shade Gishmer for destruction protection. Chen for shenanigans, right? I play Navy Dragon Mech because this is really good if you're going second. Because going first, you're going to make Croco. Going first, if you're doing everything correctly, you're going to go to Cold Dragon, and then Cold Dragon make Croco, and then you're going to end up drawing like 4 cards. Pretty good. Going second, Navy Dragon Mech is good on the clapback or the follow-up, or if you're trying to like break cards on the field temporarily. It's really nice. Standard Trishula, Dragite because you run it's a water deck, pretty easy. This is OG Bronze. You could play the other one too. The other one's actually a little bit better, but I like this one too. Then you're gonna play Totally Awesome Bahamut, Zelantis because you waterlock yourself a lot, so you can just Zelantis people's board and bring back, and you know they don't get nothing if they're not playing a water deck. And then Coral Enemy for extension, right? Now you could also play Herald the Arclight in here. It's not bad. I'm not a huge fan of it. And then like my side's pretty standard: 3 Crow, 3 Cosmic, 3 Evenly, 3 Sinker Zone, and then the cheesy Gravity Collapse, which you will win a bunch of games going in the game through Gravity Collapse and just shut them out. So let's just see what a test hand gets us. Let's see what we can do. All right. Okay, this hand's decent. All right, so we'll normal summon the whale. Whale effect. Dump this. Effect. Now at this point we can search for whatever we want. We don't really need Revealer. We could get Winds here. Winds here is actually, we're going to go that line. So we're going to do the real basic stuff. Put out the Swordsman. Swordsman effect. Bring out the Mirror Mage. Mirror Mage effect. Send that. 3 tokens. And then we wins the tokens. Whoop. Get a Revealer. Get a Speaker. Get a Spellbreaker. Bam, bam, bam. Now at this point you have plenty of stuff to unpack here. So we're going to go ahead and let's see. We'll do this and this into the Lancia, right? We'll go ahead and do this thing's effect. We'll pitch the Hexa because we don't need it. And then we're just going to go ahead and grab whatever else we need here, right? So we can go grab another Swordsman, which is pretty hot here. And then you have 2. We're already synchro locked, so we can go to Croco right here as well. Because we could just do this and go straight to the Croco. And then we're going to draw a card with your Revealer, which is pretty hot. Now, what we could do here is we can leave the Swordsman on the field and leave the Spellbreaker on the field. Try to get it out in defense mode. It was my fault for putting it into attack mode, so they're going to have to beat over that, but we can generally protect that. And then, like, if you don't need, if they're not really playing a heavy spell deck, like back row deck or something, you can just Spellbreaker, or, well, you can just make your Chen Yang or your Gishmer. I do Gishmer in this situation. And then from here, because you can make another token and extend more, but I'd save that for next turn. Then you just do this. Go ahead and keep that locked. Then you got your hand traps. And then, yeah. Now, that hand was pretty mid. So they're already spell locked. They can't use monster effects in the graveyard. You have a pop. And then your Lancia will, in turn, actually um, it'll dump out Ryo. You have everything else you need, and then you can sit on Imperm, sit on the Ghost Ogre, assuming, and if you don't need Ghost Ogre, use it as discard for a Croco. Okay, come on. Come on, game. There we go. We'll hit rematch, do it again. This hand's even better. Okay, so just bam. We're going to simplify it. There you go. We already got one thing. Same thing. And here's the thing. If you get hit with like a hand trap here, you still have wins. It doesn't really matter. Do this. Grab whatever we need. So from here, you can grab... I would actually probably grab Freezing Chains. Because Freezing Chains is pretty good. We already have the Swordsman, so we don't need to do it all weird. Special Summon. Bring this out. This thing effect. Make your tokens again. Now your other route is you could use these tokens and just climb up. That's if you don't have wins, but we have wins here. This. Spellbreaker. Revealer. Speaker. Boom. 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 Now you can do a lot of good stuff here. We'll go ahead and get our other extender. Now we can go ahead and get a Swordsman right now, which we don't really need it right now, but we have one in hand. We didn't use the on-field effect, so this is still pretty hot. Alright, so go from here, get the Lancia, and then we can go in the Croco right here. Croco, draw our card. Good deal. We drew into another one of these. That's amazing. Let's go. Let's see. Now we're gonna get Speaker this time because we have not done the hand effect, so we're just gonna do a lot of stuff, guys. Okay, so Wayne, well, not Wayne, but Swordsman. Now we could kind of do whatever here. We're actually gonna bring this back because we have a Speaker in hand still. We'll go ahead and make her Gishmer now. I'm not a fan of the Anima column, but here we are. We are synchro locked right now. If we weren't synchro locked, we'd go ahead and climb into Coral, but we don't really need the Zelanthus right now because that's a going second move. So now our follow-ups are pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to banish this. Follow-ups are, we have the Ash, we have the Crocopop, we have the Destruction Protection, we have Lancia to throw out Ryo, and we have Speaker, and we have a Speaker in our hand that's pretty good. And then ones of the Ice Barrier we can banish, and on our turn we will get that we will get one of our pieces back and rinse repeat, which we'll probably get General. Well, not General, but Swordsman. But pretty straightforward. 2 hands. This board was a little bit better than the last one. But yeah, you guys get the point. You guys get the point. Alright. Go back to the room. But yeah. If you want to play a pretty low budget deck, this deck is very, very low budget. And it's relatively good. Pick it up, man. Like, comment, subscribe as always. I hope you guys enjoy the content. I'm going to be trying to be a little bit more consistent about this with me and my team. Just lately, I've been having a lot of computer problems. The editing software we've been using has been kind of trash. Simple as that. But, thanks for watching as always.